So, welcome everyone. I hope you can hear me, and I'm really excited today. Today we're not going to do coding or looking at APOC or drivers or so, but what I want to do today is kind of give you a sneak preview on what's coming up for Nodes. So Nodes is our online developer conference. Even pre-COVID, last year we had a really successful and really cool Nodes, which the developer relations team pulled off on a really short time frame, shoestring budget, and we had amazing set of speakers last year. Actually, let's look at the pitch from last year. So we had Emil keynoting. So that was really cool. Also with Jim chiming in on Neo4j, 4.0 features, me giving some feedback from Neo4j Labs, and Corinne talking about the community. That was really cool keynote. And then we had 5 tracks, 1 lightning talk track, and 4 main tracks with in total, I think, 53 talks with speakers from, I think, 25 countries or something like that. So it was super successful. The talks many of the talks are still very current. So if you want to and you're interested in them, you can feel free to check them out and watch them even now. So many of them are still very valid. And so either you can watch them from the Neo4j.com. Actually, that's a redirect from Nodes 2019. So if you go to Nodes 2019, it will redirect you to this page. And so you can either watch them from here. You just sign in with your community site or sandbox login for that, and then it gets you back. So you have the nice overview of all the tracks and all the talks. So for instance, if I want to see Craig's talk here, I just click on this, and then I have both the talk and also the slides as well. So, and you have all this stuff that you can look at from 2019. If you rather want to go to YouTube, you can also go to YouTube. We have a playlist called, where's the playlist name? Nodes 2019. I also share the links in the, Jonathan, thank you. Yeah, I love them. The talks were really amazing last year. And what I was really excited about as well was that at least pre-pandemic, we didn't have any hiccups with the speakers or internet connections or any talk going wrong. And and also like the attendees had a really good time. And so that worked out really well, unexpectedly, but it was a really cool conference. So if you go to this playlist, you can also see all talks here and watch them. And if you like them, please also give them a thumbs up. There's a ton of content, so if you have extra time, feel free to watch them and put them onto your big screen as such. So Emil is the talking head here. Black t-shirt before back in front of black background was not such a smart choice of ours, but it's at least fun. So there's some really cool stuff in this list here as well. So here they are all in one place, but here on the actual page. They're a little bit more structured, so you can find out more of them in one go. Okay, that was 2019, and now it's kind of a year later, and now everyone is doing virtual conferences. Oops, let me check my OBS. Just 1 second. What is OBS doing here? It's not coming back, show. Oh, right. Is this the webcam? Where's my webcam? My webcam is gone. I guess. Oh yeah, that's it's completely broken. So sorry for that. I didn't know that OBS was something happened there. So it seems to have. Let me just remove the filters from this so we have some fun. Remove filter. Yes. Okay. So at least you should be seeing me now. Sorry for that. I just presumed that it was still working. It's also kind of doing some other weird things here. Let's see. But hope you can see the rest of the screen all right. And it's not kind of doing weird things. So, oops, sorry for that. Camera. Just wanted to take the camera. Ah, there it is. I just move it to the bottom right here. It seems that Zoom added a new scene for whatever reason, and that kind of broke stuff, I guess. So, thank you, thank you for letting me know. That's sorry for that. Okay, so yeah, Notes 2019. Still, all the talks are really cool, and you can still learn a lot from all of them. I especially like the talks all around GraphQL. And the one from Will Reynolds was really impressive, where he uses GraphQL in the construction industry. But also all the other talks are really, really good. So, but this year, so if you have ever interacted with Neo4j, you should have gotten an invite from me actually. So I'm inviting myself here, right? Join the largest Neo4j event for the year, Notes 2020. So we want to have as many people watching from all over the world. And so you can check out the speakers and sign up for Notes. And so it's even my picture there, right? So it's kind of authentic. So this went out last night. And so if you got it, you should have gotten the email to click on these. So that's really cool. And let's just have a look on these things. So on one side, you can, if you click on check the speakers, you get to the Notes 2020 website, which is just neo4j.com/Notes 2020. And it's October 20th, so please mark it on your calendars. You can already register now, which I recommend, because then you get a really cool chance that I'll talk about in a second. And we have a really cool set of speakers. Of course, Emil is making the rounds again. Alicia will talk about really good data science and graph data science things. David Mesa has done more with Neo4j at NASA, so he will talk about NASA topics. Luan from Graphaware has some really good deep dive into Neo4j topics. We have a lot of visualization topics this year. So for instance, Christian is talking about visualization. Estelle will have data science. I think she will talk about importing Wikidata. We'll look at the talks in a second, and many more. So I'm really excited about all these speakers. I also am really glad that we had a lot of people from diverse backgrounds submitting talks. So that's really cool as well. So I'm really excited about this lineup and can't wait to hear all these people. Of course, I won't be able to hear all these people myself at a day, but I hope at least that we can make this work. What's also cool about Notes, that's something that we wanted to keep, is actually to be not completely US-centric, so to be able for people from, for instance, from India, from Europe, and so on, to attend as well. So at least for a certain section of the conference, you can be around. So it basically starts like an hour from now, and so folks at least in India can watch it, which I find really, really important, so that we don't forget our global audience. It's a little bit early for the US folks, especially West Coast, but I think it's mostly the keynote that they would miss if they don't want to get up really early. And so from that perspective, I think that's okay. So, and what I want to show you today, which is not officially linked yet, is another thing that I want to call out is my colleague Corinne did an amazing job in getting a lot of community partners from a lot of diverse groups as well. Lots of women data science, people from all over the world, from all continents, except from Antarctica, I think. So very wide range of community partners who also help get their like community. We also help to support their communities and get them engaged. So I just don't want to call out Corinne, who did an amazing job kind of working with all these organizers of all these community groups. And actually later today, before I forget, there's an event for, let me see, Twitter.com, Neo4j, let's see. There's an event from my colleague Lou, where she will do an intro to Neo4j. So you also see the first few promotions for Neo4j as well for notes going out. But here, so if you just look at Neo4j's tweets, we just retweeted this. PyLadies Ghana tweeted it out today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. GMT. My colleague Lou will be doing an intro to Neo4j session, 2-hour session that kind of goes broad and wide around Neo4j. So if you have someone who doesn't know Neo4j yet, Jonathan, but if you have a group in Antarctica, please let us know, and then I'm more than happy to connect them to Corinne, and then you can have someone from everywhere in the world. So that's no reason not to do it. So if you know a developer group in Antarctica that we can work with, then, or a researcher group, then I'd be more than happy to connect them as well. So as I said, today at 2 p.m. GMT, Lou will do the session. So if you know people that always wanted to try Neo4j or that have heard you talking about Neo4j and are really excited about it, send them there, and I would be really happy to see new folks as well coming up, because I think Neo4j is such a cool technology that more people should benefit from it, right? So save this screenshot here so you can send folks there as well, or this tweet from PyLadies Ghana. Okay, so we talked about all these things. Exactly. And the advantage of registering early to the conference is the following. So that's something that's also a sneak. So we want to do an Grow the Graph challenge. So people that bring a lot of friends, family, colleagues, their own groups can win. Top 5 people will win $500 in gift cards. So this link is of course not valid because everyone gets the individual link for recommendations. But that's a good chance to get some extra cash to, to spend on some good things or donate to a charity. If you don't need the money, then that would be also a good thing to do. So that's coming up. But it only works if you're registering early. So to kind of grow your graph. So that's a good reason to sign up for notes today, which you can do on the page here on top. Okay, and without further ado, I want to look at some of the talks. So we have one more track this year. We have 6 tracks this year with 70 talks in total, I think. And I just want to go over some of the talks and call them out that I'm really looking forward to. So let's get going. As I already mentioned, visualization is a big topic for notes this year. So my colleague Lou will go deep into Bloom, so some new cool features in Neo4j Bloom, which is now freely available in Neo4j Desktop, so you can use it whenever you install Neo4j Desktop. Bloom is available for your local databases, and kind of getting started for that would be really cool. So then a number of visualization talks from visualization specialists like Sebastian, Jan, and also Christian Miles, I think, is somewhere here as well. Here, Christian Miles, some other folks. We will see data visualization for knowledge graphs. We will see specific visualization tools for more complex data. Power BI, so business intelligence tools, which is good. Then our friends from Graphaware will show different kind of patterns for visualization, which is also quite interesting if you're going deeper into graph visualization. And then a use case where Ruben will visualize all of Drupal.org, so the whole community with all the user information and interactions and all the things that are there, and visualize that. That's really nice as well. So we do something similar with the community graph, where we have all the data from Stack Overflow, Slack, from Twitter, from GitHub, and so on in one gigantic Neo4j graph. It's actually a good idea for one of the next Twitch stream sessions. So as Adam did the one about Slack, I could do one about the Neo4j community graph. That's a good idea. I'll do this perhaps next week. Amy and Anurag, the PMs and PMMs of Bloom, will talk about like new stuff in Bloom. And what else? So the Christian Maltz talk is really interesting because it combines graph visualization with GraphQL. So that's and with GrandStack. So that's really cool. And more visualization talks here as well. So I think Julie's talk was also interesting because it was an like brain data science talk. So that's cool. And from our partner Kinevis, Alex, she's done a good job in the past. So you might have seen some Medium articles from her on our Medium blog. She wants to look at election 2020, which is of course on many people's minds, mine included, for the US. So that's a really important thing. If you have not seen the work from John Swain, who did in 2016 Twitter analysis on Brexit and on US elections, where basically he used the data on Twitter to predict the outcome even before it happened, which was quite interesting. So if you want to see more of that, you can check out the Medium articles and search just for Twitter analysis, and then you see the John Swain's Twitter analysis things here. And Alex also did, if we search for Alex Law, she did already some really good blog posts here as well. So that's also cool. Okay, let's see what the next one. So another one that I'm really excited about is Graph Data Science, because as you might know or remember, the Graph Data Science library started its life as the Graph Algorithms library in our team in Devrel, where Mark and I and some really great collaborators from a partner worked on this. And now it's in the product, and people are using it at scale in billions and billions of nodes and relationships. So we have Luan talking about recommendations on whiskey, which is also a really good topic. I should have brought a bottle of whiskey or two, because I have a whole shelf of that over there. In more use cases on graph algorithms, food concerns, Matt will talk about Kafka to Neo4j, which is partially graph data science, so it's more like a data prep aspect of it. Lorenzo will talk about artificial intelligence. So I don't remember exactly what he was talking about, but Lorenzo is really good at like talking about interesting use cases. Pharma, that was I think a COVID one, which is really interesting. And what I'm really excited about, my friend and colleague Martin will present with Alicia on the Pregel API. I don't know if you know that the Graph Data Science library has a Pregel API that allows you to write your own algorithms, which then are executed really efficiently. And Martin contributed most of that, and so you will see how to do that. And Alicia will do a general talk about Graph Data Science library and data science pipelines, which is also really good. And I think this one is about, from Will Evans, is about similarities and KNN graphs, so nearest similarity graphs for recommendations. I also hope that will use some of the embedding stuff that is already in the 1.3 release and will be officially released in the 1.4 at around the conference. Something that I was quite surprised to see in the submissions, Dave has an Doom and Neo4j. So it's not so much graph data science, but it's more about like data ingest. So kind of ingesting Doom data into Neo4j and seeing what this looks like. That's kind of a fun one, I guess, with a lot of good stuff. And if you haven't seen Nathan's articles, also on Medium, so Nathan is amazing because he's like a machine. I think he already wrote like 10 or so articles for our developer blog. So he has a ton of really, really cool articles on graph data science, fun topics like solving Sudoku and other things. So if you want to read some good stuff from him, and he's also running the Kansas City meetup group as well. So Nathan is really good in kind of communicating and explaining stuff. So I'm really excited for his talk. Okay, next one is building applications. Project Hades is an I think event management system where they show how they built the event management system for also an women's hackathon, which is really cool. I think that's a really nice one. GraphQL, so as you know, that's also really close to my heart as we started. So the Neo4j GraphQL integration in 2016 was my one of my integrations that I built initially with Neo4j, and now we have GrandStack doing it all much better than the things that I built back then. And so all the GraphQL talks are really nice. And so this is like a transformation talk. Mark, what is this? Conditional updates in most complicated queries. So I think that's like advanced Cypher tuning and advanced Cypher topics for subqueries. Ah, nice. How to use subqueries, which is a new feature of 4.0 and 4.1. Which is really interesting. And also another one with subqueries is from Luan, that these are lightning talks. Right, you see that they're only 20 minutes. COVID data in Google Maps, topic that's also very important for today, so for these days. So I think there's a number of talks about COVID at the conference. What comes first, the data model or the algorithm? That's a really good question. I don't know, but Liz will tell us about it. RDBMS to Neo4j, that was one that I wanted to have in there as a talk because I think that's a really important topic. Yeah, so the Doom one sounds really good, Alex, you're right. So the RDBMS to Neo4j I think is really important because a lot of people have a lot of data in relational databases and they're actually not aware of what kind of treasure is sitting there, and so kind of showing how to get the data from a relational database into Neo4j is quite important. And our friends from Laros will show JHipster. I don't know if you saw, there was also an article on the developer blog from my colleagues Michael and Garrett, and about SDN and JHipster. So I think that's will be a really good one as well because that is like a framework to get you up, or a tooling to get you up and running really quickly with Spring Data. And I'm really excited that Sebastian is joining us for Node, because Sebastian is a really amazing speaker. He works at IBM and he's done a lot of really good like Neo4j, Kubernetes blog post articles and so on, and videos, and also around Quarkus and Neo4j. So he's looking into how to integrate Quarkus with Neo4j. Jonathan, if you're interested in advanced Cypher, one quick detour is we have a really cool Graph Academy, really cool new course on Cypher tuning. So if you're interested in advanced Cypher topics, so I reviewed the course, it's really good. So Cypher tuning, it even has my picture as well. I don't know why they always pick my pictures for these courses. I don't know. So advanced Cypher tuning, I can really recommend this one, Jonathan, if you're interested into that. So it's a new online training for Graph Academy that's just got out a few weeks ago. So can't recommend this enough. Okay, what else is coming? Oh yeah, Polly. So I was really glad that Polly also submitted because she did an GraphQL workshop for women, and I was really impressed, kind of reading her story, and I'm really glad that she's submitted her talk as well, and I really liked her videos around this whole topic, and that would be really that's made me really excited to see her going into it. Speaking of deep dive, right, Jonathan, because you said the advanced cipher is interesting to you. So deep dive, graph database internals. Our chief scientist, Jim Weber, who is also the chief entertainer, I think, of Neo4j, will do an fun and interesting talk about how Neo4j works on the inside, what's in the box. And I think I'm really looking forward for kind of which secrets he will spill. I mean, it's open source, it's on GitHub anyway, right? So you can just check it out. So Jim is really good. If you've seen talks of Jim before, I always enjoy him speaking, especially as he also calls out me often in his talks, which is definitely also fun. I kind of wait for that often. So good stuff from Jim. Johannes is a team lead at Neo4j Aura. So he has done really good talks at KubeCon and elsewhere on Kubernetes in Neo4j. And he will talk a little bit about what's behind the scenes in Neo4j Aura for good point, Alex. I should tell him, or you should tell him, to change his title to Chief Entertainer. So Johannes is doing really good talks. If you want to see his Kubernetes talks, you can just go to, I think, to YouTube, and then we can search for Johannes Unterstein Kubernetes. And if I can spell it correctly. So Johannes has done a bunch of talks on this Kubernetes and Neo4j topic. So if you want to see some of those, also at Cloud Native Foundation and so on. So definitely recommend it if you're into cloud things as such. Cypher deep dive. So my colleague who's actually living here in Dresden, where I live, Sasha, will go. He's part of the Cypher implementation team, and he looks at will look at the internal workings of the Cypher engine. That's a really good one. I think that will give us a lot of insight also for the advanced Cypher topics as such. Right. Neo4j clusters with large stores. That's a good one, especially as it goes probably into sharding as well, and large clusters, so with high throughput, large volumes, and so on. So if you're running Neo4j in production in large scopes, that's definitely a talk for you. Hugo is one of the amazing people in our cluster team, and Tom is one of our really good field engineers who is kind of making customers happy. So please check this out if you're running Neo4j clusters. Craig is our spatial guru, as you know, for many, many, many years. And he wants to talk about how to do more advanced spatial search algorithms. So if you're into geospatial topics, then check out. And then, of course, my colleague Will on GraphQL. And I think he will... By the way, if you haven't seen it yet, there's an Neo4j.com GraphQL book. Let's see if it's under books. Full Stack GraphQL. So Will is currently writing a book about GraphQL, and you can get like 3 chapters for free from Neo4j. So or 4 chapters even. 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters for free. So if you want to check this out, if you're into GraphQL, I can definitely recommend the book. And he's doing a talk about new stuff in GrandStack, and also some new tooling that he's built showed on his stream as well. David and Andrea will talk about Spark and Neo4j. So there will be some really cool announcements coming soon around Spark integration in Neo4j. So there will be lots of examples, and they will show you how to use some new tooling that's coming up to integrate it with Neo4j and Spark. So bidirectionally, and not just from Scala, but also from Python and R interactively with notebooks. So can't wait for that. So that's one that I've been also participating in the effort on our side, and I can't wait. My colleague Andreas will talk about something that's a really cool thing that is an API to provision Neo4j databases called Relate, which is powering from the next version Neo4j desktops implementation. And that's also something that we want to wrap around Sandbox and Aura, so that you can then provision databases from the command line or from UCI tooling. And so he will talk about some of that, which I'm also really excited for. Eric did already talk about Cypher Workbench at Graph Connect 2 years ago, which was his prototype version, and now has turned this into a real tool, which is very, very powerful, does a lot of cool modeling, querying things, and so that will be also a really, really interesting talk. And then Alex is talking about data import. As you know, I'm really keen, and data import is one of my pet peeves as well, data ingestion, and so I'm really excited what Alex will talk about. Yeah. And which leaves us, I think, with the last one, which is use cases. So let's see what's coming. Use cases. Knowledge graphs, of course, is a big topic, where knowledge graphs is, I think, mostly getting data from a lot of sources and then making sense of that. By the way, there was really good articles here from Tomasz on Towards Data Science on knowledge graphs, and so can also recommend that. Development framework for the automotive industry. So Elena is from Germany, Elena and Uwe as well, and they will talk about a framework that they use for product development. So I haven't looked into that in detail, but I think that sounds quite interesting as well. Contact tracing in the Philippines, as I said, COVID is definitely a topic that comes up more frequently. So some countries, I think the Philippines, but also Vietnam, use Neo4j for their COVID tracing engines. So that's yeah, Jonathan, if you have questions around data, just let me know, and I can also point you to some good resources and help you as well. And graph-based documentation. So Veronique has also an more human digital humanities background, and she's pulling data into Neo4j from a source of documents that she's working on. So I know that she only started to use Neo4j this year and already made really good progress as such. Christoph from our partner Graphaware will talk about all the new Neo4j security features, which is like this whole best access control, all the new permissions, creating databases, encryptions, and so on. So if you're running Neo4j in action, then this is also a talk for you. Joe, I think he wanted to do this talk last year, but then he said he didn't have enough time to prepare. So he said he would rather do it like a year later. So I'm looking forward to see what Joe is doing with graphs and IoT data, which is not an obvious fit, but I'm excited to see what he's building. Healthy communication models. So Matt is doing something that's really cool. It's a humane syntax to called Aspen to write a Neo4j data statement. So basically you express in English sentences what your data looks like, and it turns it into Cypher statements and inserts into a database. So if you Google for Aspen Neo4j, that here aspenlang.org. So it's like Markdown for graph data. So basically you have really simple syntax, and this is turned into Cypher code basically, which is kind of really interesting. Right. So that will be an interesting one in terms of like how easy can we make it to create graph data for non-developers. Brazilian company groups. So that's actually like a company database, I think, and in Brazil. They use graph data science. So actually, it would probably more make sense to switch this to the graph data science talk, right? Track. So let me talk to Corinne about that. Be the match, that's I think donor network, yeah. Donor network, risk taxonomies, org structures, agency management. Yeah, so that's kind of what's coming. I think there are some few more slots open that we might fill with some more cool talks. But most of them, so for me, I probably would double book myself for these for Nodes. And yeah, as I said, if you sign up now to Nodes, then you hopefully soon this week or next week you'll get the Grow the Graph challenge. And please tell your friends, grandma, family, colleagues, people that you know, folks on Twitter, people that you follow or that follow you about Nodes. I really want it to be a very inclusive conference with a lot of attendees from lots of different backgrounds. Oh, did I miss Acknowledge Graphs track? Oh, sorry for that. Thank you. I thought I had all of them. See, I can't even count to 6. Thank you. So, knowledge graphs. Starting with Emel's keynote again. By the way, I'm helping Emel with the keynote, and it will be some really good stuff in the keynote. Code Graph, NLP, and network science. So our friends from Graphaware have a really cool product called Yum, and they are ingesting data from all kinds of places into that. And I think Luster will show this as well. Tomasz, who has done an amazing job at writing about graph data science and NLP and so on. So if you haven't seen any of his articles, we can probably just search for Tomasz Pratanik on TDS. So he's done a ton of really cool articles on all kinds of topics. So I can just recommend everything from Tomasz. He's really amazing. And he has also done NLP articles already as well. So Tomasz's talk will definitely be super interesting. Next one, Global Professional Graph Engine. That sounds like a LinkedIn on top of Neo4j. Job seekers and job search engines. Yeah, kind of matching not just skills, which most of the current job engines do, but also other things like personality, experience, and domains, and NLP. Interesting. Semantic Web and Neo4j. So that will be interesting to see what kind of RDF and semantic web data they pull together and what they then do with this data. Knowledge graph, QNOS, patent data, patent and journal data. I had once someone who kind of worked with patent data in Neo4j, and it was pretty impressive, kind of just the volume of patents that exists in the patent world and in the journal world. Especially if you then link this with NLP, then it says 5 billion nodes, 50 billion relationships and counting. So, good stuff. From BASF, German chemical company. Content data sharing, Internet of Things. Analia is from Innsbruck, and I think this is, I haven't looked into this yet, multiple entities, data sharing between entities. So, that's about making data sharing processes. So if Alexa shares your data with Amazon, how we can make this more visible, and it's like supply chain tracing and supply chain management for IoT devices. Cool, good stuff. Survey as a graph. I really liked, by the way, Tomasz had a really good article on surveys, and is it this one? Survey responses and graph data science. So that's what this reminds me of. But surveys and graphs, there were a lot of people who did a lot of really interesting modeling, especially around surveys, and so that will be interesting. Estelle has just published a book, so if you want to learn more about the Graph Data Science library, Estelle has just published a book on graph data science. So she has a video course that was a little bit earlier, but this I think is the book, right? This is the book which has just come out 3 weeks ago or something like that, which is also all about the new graph data science library of Neo4j. So if you're interested in that, can definitely recommend. And she's importing data from Wikidata. Software agents for creating knowledge graphs. I have not seen into that. So it's kind of chatbots and how they interact with knowledge in a knowledge graph. Crime investigation. David from NASA talking about competency and skills and knowledge. As you know, kind of NASA is a large organization with lots of people who all have different skill sets, different experiences, and kind of mapping their internal LinkedIn to say so as such. Enterprise metadata. I had a really good discussions in the past from people from large companies who kind of explained to me how much metadata they have, not just how much data they have, but also how much metadata they have. And that, for instance, SAP has 90,000 tables also with like millions of columns and data types, and that like someone has to manage all this metadata, and that was pretty impressive or depressing, depending on how you see how much stuff is happening there. And these are some folks from PayPal that want to talk about their metadata. Cool, interesting. So I guess now I have not missed a track, right? Have you gotten all? I hope so. So I'm really excited. Please tell others if you see tweets about nodes, please retweet them so other people see them as well. And I can't wait for the conference. It's been really interesting to see all the submissions, people wanting to talk about all kinds of things, and it's really hot as always to select the things for the conference, right? Please help us spread the word and share the gospel. And if you sign up, you can make some money as well, as I said before. So we'll send you an invite to Grow the Graph Challenge as well. If you have gotten the email, you should just click on the links and then you get there. Otherwise, just go to neo4j.com/nodes2020. And with that, I think I'm good, except if there's anything else that anyone wants to know, I would close for today. And next week I'll do the community graph, because that's a really cool topic as well. Cool. Thank you all. And Jonathan, don't forget to bring the Antarctic user group along. Okay? Have a great day, everyone, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.